American Apache helicopters led today's attack on the Iraqi bunker complex, and soon afterwards as many as 500 troops had surrendered, men from one of Saddam Hussein's frontline infantry battalions. CH-47 Chinook helicopters then airlifted American soldiers onto enemy territory to round up the prisoners of war who'd come out from their bunkers.
Initial reports indicate 13 to 15 bunkers were destroyed. Approximately 450 to 500 EPWs were taken prisoner. As we speak, CH-47s with security forces are picking up these prisoners and returning them to the Saudi side of the border.
The Americans say they also attacked a group of 300 Iraqi vehicles further north from the border, destroying 28 tanks. Despite continuing uncertainty about if and when a ground war will start, U.S. commanders say their men are fully prepared.
The troops are ready to go. Make no mistake about it. They've been ready, but they're getting every day they even get more ready. There'll be no diminution of their capability, whether it goes today, tomorrow, or a month later. Morale, I don't believe, is an issue at all.
As for Iraq's army, the Allied commander here, General Schwarzkopf, said today they're on the verge of collapse, though he's taking nothing for granted. And none of the Allies want to underestimate their enemy.
We do not have evidence that the whole of the army is demoralized, but one would expect, given the fact that we have concentrated in certain areas at certain times to a plan, that the morale situation will degenerate far more quickly in some areas than others. So we re-emphasize that this is not an across-the-board situation. We are still facing a potentially very dangerous enemy, and one that is entirely capable of fighting in some areas. Yeah.
Many Iraqi prisoners of war have said morale is low, and Allied commanders here have even confirmed reports that a few of the Republican Guard have been deserting, but it's only described as a small trickle. More and more, the two opposing armies seem to be sizing each other up with an increasing number of border skirmishes and reconnaissance and counter-reconnaissance patrols. Day by day, activity along the border is growing in preparation for a ground war, which most people here still think is inevitable and imminent.
An American 155mm howitzer firing across the desert at a point close up to Iraqi-held territory where British and American gunners are working side by side to grind down Iraqi positions. This could be the start of an artillery duel, but if it is...
I don't anticipate it's going to be a long duel. I think it's going to be a very hard-fought duel with a tremendous amount of firepower being supplied certainly on the Allied side. I wouldn't be so confident of their ability anymore to supply any weight of fire on their side.
There's an earthwork here which marks the northern limit of Saudi Arabia. Parts of it have been removed along the border to confuse the enemy and to make the invasion easier. Leaflets are scattered everywhere in the desert, urging Iraqi soldiers to desert for the sake of their families and telling them how to do so. American M1 tanks patrol the area cautiously. The point where I am, actually at the beginning of no man's land, is in fact further forward than any Allied position anywhere along the front. The fact that we are allowed here is a sign of the confidence of the Allies in the strength of their position. And the emptiness of the landscape out there is a sign of the problems that the Iraqis have in defending a front this wide against a force this strong.
He hasn't had any supplies. We've cut him off from that, and we've rocketed him at night, bombed him during the night, and now we're doing rocket mixes with the Brits in the daytime. So he hasn't got a chance to breathe. I would think he's just about through.
Late in the afternoon, the Americans mounted an armored reconnaissance patrol into Iraqi-held territory and searched it for mines and other obstacles up to a depth of 1,200 meters. They didn't find any, but they did see or suspect an isolated observation post and shelled it with an artillery unit that hadn't fired a shot in anger since the Vietnam War. There are parts of the front where, on a limited scale, the ground war has already begun.